Alright, this is our next unit, or next notes in Algebra 1. We're going to move on to the next chapter, I've decided. So this is going to be 8.1. We'll review 7.6 tomorrow, talk about it. Then we're going to start on 8.1 here, just to get us moving along. And our next unit is a pretty important one. It's on polynomials and quadratic expressions. We'll be getting there pretty soon, actually. Maybe not this, maybe a little bit into these next week and a half, then for sure when we get back from treks. So a polynomial, a couple definitions. One is a polynomial is the sum of variables and exponents. Okay, and polynomials include monomials, binomials, and so on. So polynomials though are shown in expressions, and I'll kind of explain that in a minute. But an example of an expression is 3x squared. Okay, or 6x. Okay, and so polynomials can have, or be, they can have monomials in them, so they can be 3x, and a monomial can also be a constant like 9. So 3x is a monomial, and 9 is a monomial, and it can also be part of a polynomial, and poly means like 3 or more. Okay, and it's talking about all these different variables. We have this equation or function where it has 3 or more variables. Okay, but they can have monomials in them, they can have binomials in them, 3x plus 2, or they can have trinomials. This is really where we're going, x squared plus 3x plus 2. Okay, and so this is kind of, polynomials can have these in them, and just single ones as well. Okay, but also important to remember about polynomials is they have a degree. Okay, there's called, it might say in the homework, what is the degree of this polynomial? Well, if it's a monomial, like this one right here, we would just figure out the sum of all exponents. So we look at this one right here, it has the sum of all exponents is 2, so we'd say it's a second degree monomial. Okay, here though, so we did this one, 7 times x squared, it has the sum of 2 in the exponents, so it's a second degree. This one has no exponents, right? So this would have a sum of 0, so this is a 0 degree monomial. Move that up a little bit. So that's a 0 degree, then negative 65. And then if we kept going here, so if we go beyond these just as monomials or binomials, really, and binomials fit in with polynomials here. The degrees for binomials and polynomials is the greatest degree of any term in the expression. Okay, so here we have x to the third plus 2x squared plus 3x. So we look at each exponent. This is a 1, this is a 2, and this is a 3. So this is the greatest one. So this would be a third degree. Okay. And then also, what we want to remember, there's also something called a standard form for a polynomial, and it's kind of like, what's the standard way to write it correctly? Okay, and really the rule is for terms in order from greatest to least. So here's an example. So we have 3x squared plus 4x to the fifth minus 7x. Okay, and the greatest we're talking about here is degree. So we look for the greatest degree, it'd be 4x to the fifth. The next greatest degree would be 3x squared, so we'd add that. And then the last one is negative 7x. So for this polynomial, how it's written, the standard form is to write it from the greatest degree to the least. And that's your standard form. Okay, a couple rules. When we're adding polynomials, we would just add like terms. So we'd look at, so we have 2x squared plus 5x minus 7, and we're going to add 3 minus 4x squared plus 6x. So we're going to collect like terms. So you have this term and this term, right? So we have, and let's start with the greatest. These aren't quite in order, but it doesn't really matter what order you do it in. So we have 2x and then plus a negative 4x. So that's going to give us negative 2x squared. Those exponents stay the same. And the next one is going to be our 5x, or x, just in 1x with the exponent of 1. So we have 5x and 6x. 5 plus 6 is plus 11x. And then we have negative 7 and 3. So negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4. So then that would be adding a polynomial. This one to that one. We add the like terms, rewrite it. Okay? That's adding. And the last one is subtracting. So if we want to subtract exponents, we have to add the additive inverse. So to this one, we're going to take the additive inverse, and I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to rewrite this 3 minus 2x plus 2x squared. And then we're going to add it. And then we're going to do all the opposites. So it's going to be negative 4x, the inverse, the additive inverse. So it's going to be plus 5, the opposite. And the opposite of this one, negative 3x squared. Then we're going to collect like terms. So collect like terms. Okay. So then we're just going to go to, let's go with we want to write it in standard form, so let's go to the greatest degree. This is going to be the second, right, to the second power. So 2x plus negative 3x is going to give us minus x squared, or negative 1x squared. We won't write the 1. Those are done. Sometimes it's good to cross them off. And then we have negative 2x. Don't forget that negative in front of there. Negative 2x, negative 4x. So negative 2 plus a negative 4 is going to be a negative 6x. Cancel that now. And then we have a 3 plus a 5 plus 8. So that's how you do the subtracting polynomials. And that's really a good start for us. We'll do a little bit of practice in class. We'll review our homework from the day before, and we'll be ready to move on to this unit here. So just a quick review. So a polynomial is any kind of a sum of variables and exponents. Okay, so sum of variables and exponents. They can have monomials in them, they can have binomials, they can have trinomials, and they have degrees. So if it's a monomial we're talking about, we just take the sum of all the exponents in that. So 7, the only exponent is 2, second degree. Polynomials, we take the greatest degree of any term. This is the greatest, x to the third, so this would be a third degree. And then always writing in standard form, we go from the greatest degree, is 4x to the fifth, to the least, 7x. And then if we're adding, just add like terms. And if we're subtracting, we do the additive inverse, and then we collect like terms. That's your notes. Add them to your notebook. I'll see you in class.